Welcome back to the JJ Redick podcast on the Ringer Network. I really hope that you enjoyed the first episode with Joel Embiid. Joel and I had a lot of fun recording that episode. I think you're really going to enjoy this week's episode. We have a great guest. It's James Corden from The Late Late Show. I've gotten to know James pretty well over the last couple of years. His best mate from England is a very, very close friend of mine, one of my best mates as well. Ben Winston, the showrunner for The Late Late Show. James is, of course, the host of The Late Late Show, amongst other things. We had a great conversation. This was actually recorded on November 14th, the day after my return in the Philadelphia 76ers game versus the Los Angeles Clippers. James and I have a really fun conversation. We go kind of existential deep at times. We also talk about the weird quirks that we have prior to performing. Him, of course, prior to recording a show, and me prior to a game. And we even talk about the Clippers. All right, let's get to James and my conversation from a couple weeks ago. Enjoy. All right, and I'm joined by James Corden, host of The Late Late Show on CBS. James, thanks for coming on.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. How's it going?
It's going well.
It's nice to see you. I watched you playing basketball last night.
Yeah, it's very nice to see you as well.
Now I'm seeing you a lot more relaxed than you were last night.
A close game against the Clippers.
You were in the zone last night.
Yeah, I was.
It must be quite strange going back the first time to play against the team that you played for.
It was surreal. It's weird. It's almost like cathartic, like you have to go through the experience, and it's a little bit painful.
Right.
I thought about the first time I played Orlando. I was in Orlando for 7 years.
Yeah.
The first time I played Orlando, it was almost like I didn't want to play.
Yeah.
It was almost like I hadn't yet removed myself from that team.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until there was a coaching change and a training staff change and the players were different that I felt like I was playing a different team.
Of course.
And, most of my mates are still in LA.
Yeah.
Doc's still there.
Yeah.
The front office is still there. Ballmer, all the people that I grew close with.
Mm-hmm.
It was surreal.
It must be incredible. Yeah. It was an amazing game, though. I absolutely loved it. It was so good.
So I just grabbed you. You literally just finished a show.
We just finished, about 3.5 minutes ago, yeah.
What do you feel after you're done with the show? What goes through your mind? Are you critiquing yourself? Are you relieved? Are you thinking, where's my dinner reservation? I'm going to go home and see my kids. What goes through your mind when a show is done?
Well, it depends on the show, in truth. This show we did tonight, I thought was okay. I thought we've done better shows. We've done worse shows. And so I feel sort of quite nonplussed towards it, if I'm honest. I don't really feel any rush or exhilaration or, it's just another day. And then oddly, doing a job like this, I've realized the harder days after a show are when you've done a really good one, because you would think that would be a feeling of, oh man, we just did a great show. But I find my feeling is, oh, we just did a great show and now it's gone and we've got another one tomorrow. Because it's just every day. It's every day. So we've got another show tomorrow, and once you've done it, it's gone. It's there. It'll be on TV in 3 hours. It'll live on the internet forever, and hopefully there'll be bits that people will like, and they'll find them and watch them. And then now, from this moment on, it just becomes about tomorrow's show. Often I try and race home to sort of try and get the kids to bed, or certainly I normally get to put one of them down. Yeah.
I can relate to what you're saying. There's a similarity between doing a show that's on 4 times a week and playing 4 games a week in basketball.
Yeah, of course.
And it's weird because when I have a really good game, there's a level of anxiety because I'm like, I had a great game, but then I've got to play again tomorrow and 2 days from now, and I've got to perform well again.
Yeah.
Whereas if I have a bad game, like last night I didn't play particularly well, and there's a sense of excitement, like, oh, I can turn it around in 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever.
Yes.
I'm assuming you kind of feel the same way then.
For sure, because also, as you'll know, which I think is true in any medium, whether it's sport, whether it's entertainment, whatever it is, there will always be, and it's just a fact of life, there will always be an element of criticism somewhere from somebody, somewhere, somehow. And actually what you realize is you very rarely get criticized at the start of your career, because you haven't done anything really. You only get criticized for doing something really well and then doing something not as well. Like I read a thing, I was reading about a Real Madrid game the other day, and someone had written a huge piece about how Gareth Bale was underperforming. Now, Gareth Bale wasn't underperforming. Gareth Bale just wasn't performing as well as he did last year. He was still performing better than 6 other people on that team. It's just the greater you do, the more the parameters change and the expectation is different. So then suddenly it's like, well, now I've seen what you can do, so I expect that of you every week, you know? And that's where it's sort of quite hard. Like you had that game the other day, you scored 31 points.
Right.
Unbelievable. People going nuts. It was the most phenomenal performance.
It's hard to replicate that every night.
There's going to be a load of fans. You're going to go out.
Yeah.
If you go out and score 11 points, they'll be like, well, yeah, JJ was fine. And you'll be like, no, that's amazing. That's really good. A lot of people didn't score 11 points, but it's like, no, you've set a bar of being there, you know?
I think that's the curse of having some level of success is you raise expectations, you raise people's expectations.
And you raise your own expectations as well. You figure out what you are capable of. So then you start to set your own barometer by being, I've done that once. I should be able to do it again. I mean,
so there is a standard for you every time you go out and perform, whether that's doing a show for the Late Late Show or doing a live show like the Tonys or the Emmys. There's that standard that you're holding yourself to. Like, this is how I know I can perform. I want to perform up to that standard every time. And when you don't get there, you're disappointed.
Yes. You know, we've been very, very fortunate since this show launched that we've been sort of rewarded with like various awards, like
Emmys.
Critics' Choice Awards and Emmys and things like that. But then, you know, we've also had other things that we haven't won. And what I've realized in this time is that I don't really get a huge kick out of winning, but I absolutely hate losing. Do you know? And that's a sort of odd place to be. I don't walk around going, oh my, look what we did all this. I never sort of celebrate the successes and go, isn't this amazing? But I absolutely can't bear it if we underperform in any way, or I feel that we're not gaining or the relevance that the show can have or the momentum that the show can carry. Then I get really annoyed. I never really sit and think about how great things have done. I just think about how things could be better. And I actually think that's a healthier place to be in a way, provided it doesn't make you unhappy, provided you're just using it as a force for good and a force to improve. I think it can be quite detrimental if you care about your place in the world or your relevance in the world and it gets to a point where you really start to get depressed and down about it. But if you can harness that to be a thing to go, well, no, I'm just going to try and be the best I can all the time, wherever I am and whatever we're doing, and that's the sort of mark you set for yourself, then I think life can sort of be a picnic, you know?
So in sort of holding yourself to that standard, I'm going to be the best that I can be at all times. Does that mean your preparation, your performance anxiety, whatever you want to call it, prior to a show is the same for every show? Like if you're, for instance, I've been on your show twice.
Yes.
I'm like a C to D lister. But you've had Tom Hanks on your show. You've had a number of just huge celebrities, a number of huge musical acts.
Yeah.
Is it different when those type of guests are on?
Of course, because, you know, when you've got really, really big, great people on, you know, we're aware that we are a show that historically in the past hasn't always attracted those names, and that we are a show that I think right now, or certainly in the past couple of years, has probably punched above our weight in terms of budget, in terms of staff size, in terms of time slots and things like that. You know, I think we've found some bits and things which have given the show a greater relevance than perhaps has been there before. But I don't have any sort of superstitions or things like that, really, because when I was in a play on Broadway and I got into a crazy amount of superstitions where it actually started to mess me up. Like I had a whole thing of like, I had to put one sock on first and then the other sock, and there would be a band that would play before we started, and I would have to start. I couldn't start getting dressed until the band had started. I had to be dressed by the time they finished a song. I could only step through the door with my left foot. When I got down the stairs, I had to high five all the crew. And then I had to do this sort of silly dance with this girl, Jemima. And these are all things that just started adding. And then I used to do a bit where in the show, I used to throw a peanut up in the air and catch it. And so I'd keep half a peanut in my pocket. So I'd take that half a peanut out and I'd put it on a particular shelf, and it had to remain there until the next day when I take it off. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's absurd. My wife was like, who are you? And I talked, actually, not in any sort of deep sense. I just happened to meet a a sports psychologist actually, and I said to him, I was like, it's messing me up, man. I was like, it's ruining my day to the point where I feel like I don't know what it is, and I've never really been like this. And he said, it's just about eliminating doubt. He said, that's all it is. You're doing something at such a repetition every day where you absolutely have to perform every time you step on the stage. It really is resting on your shoulders. And all you're trying to do, all this is your subconscious trying to eliminate doubt from your body. That with every single intuition, you're pushing doubt further to the back of your mind so that when you step on, you feel like you're 10 foot tall. And that's all it is. And then he went, but it's all rubbish and you should probably not do it, you know? So I've purposefully tried to not have any superstitions or anything at this show.
No routines? Like pre-show routines? I mean,
no,
obviously you're going to put a suit on.
Yeah, there's a routine in that I have my makeup done, the monologue guys will come in, I'll get dressed, I'll meet the guests, and the only sort of superstition we've got is I'll go and say hi to the audience, and then when I walk around backstage, anyone who's in the corridor behind the curtain, we have to have a high five. And that's the only thing that exists. But that just started on day one, and that just happened on the first show. There was lots of people saying good luck, and then I was like, well, we'll carry that on, but I'm not adding any more.
Right.
Because I don't have time to add 40 minutes worth of stuff to it, you know?
I do know, because
what do you do?
Listening to you talk about that, I'm reminded of my own sort of pre-game rituals.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a discussion today with one of our assistant coaches who said, I watched you warm up the other day. You really do a lot of stuff. And then he's like, would you ever eliminate anything or would you only add? And I said the same thing you just said. I would only add. I couldn't eliminate anything.
Yeah.
And so this is my 12th year.
Yeah.
So by my 12th year now, there's like 42 things that I have to do before the game. And every so often, like it happened last night, right as I was going out for the jump ball, I put a little rosin on my hands and I spit in both hands and I rub the rosin together. I go rub my feet on the sticky mat and then I go back to the rosin, put some more rosin on my hands, spit my hands one more time, go back. And as I'm doing this process, I said to myself, this literally doesn't fucking matter. Why do you do this every time? Some of the stuff is functional. Like for you, putting a suit on,
I don't even see that as a superstition.
Warming my muscles up, I have to do that.
Of course, but it's those tiny little things. If you watch Rafa Nadal play tennis, it's insane. His now. The headband, the nose, the ear, he bounces the ball so many times, moves his shorts, does a thing. That's all just stuff that's just built up over time, because the bigger you get and the closer you get to the thing, you start, because actually what I've realized is whoever you are, whether it's you as a professional sportsman, it's me doing this, it's a huge singer, a big band, people ultimately in their core are racked with, why me? Why am I the person that's ended up here when I didn't even really know? Like, you were just playing basketball and you were at college and loads of other people were great at basketball and they're not here. They're not playing in the NBA. So you just have this constant feeling inside of like, well, why me? This has to be a mistake. At some point, I'm going to get tapped on the shoulder and someone's going to go, oh, I'm so sorry. We've made a mistake and it's game over now. That's it. Time up. You had a great run. Well done. So it's all just a constant sort of massive self-doubt, or that's how I find it. I my sort of what would look like a sort of obscene overconfidence often just is shadowing a complete sort of lack of, or not lack of, a complete sort of mass of being racked by just self-doubt. That's all, you know what I mean?
Is there fear involved? Because for me, it's fear. I think I'm scared. I don't know that it's...
But what are you scared of, though?
Someone tapping me on the shoulder and saying, you're done.
Yeah.
And I'm also afraid of failure, and I'm afraid of performing bad. And so I think as much as it is eliminating doubts, as you said, there's something reassuring about doing these stupid ritualized acts before a game. It calms me. In a way, it does give me confidence. Like, oh, I've done this before and I've performed well. Not because of it. I know that. But it just reassures me.
It's all it is. Yeah.
So do you fear? Is it a fear?
I don't think I feel fear. I don't think it's fear. What I'm trying to focus on right now it's just, I'm trying to spend a bit more time thinking about happiness and just being happy and being happy with what I've got and my lot and my life, as opposed to thinking about what I don't have and what other people might have and what other people have got and going, well, actually, that's all pointless. This is all ultimately pretty meaningless unless you're happy. And I think it's particularly difficult in this town in Los Angeles, which is a town obsessed with lists and heat and whether it's 35 under 35 or 40 over 40. I mean, there's so many lists now. It's going to be 41 aged between 40 and 42. Like that's how many lists there are and all those things. And you can start. But what I'm amazed at and what I wish someone would do is 50 happiest people on the planet, because they're the people to be jealous of. They're the people to be envious of. The people that have found an absolute happiness in themselves and understand that ultimately happiness is a choice. Yeah. It's a choice that I can make, and it's something I have a choice to make the best of things or the worst of things, and I'm going to try and make the best of things. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Mostly I'm just trying to go, oh my God, well, this is amazing. This is all great. And if I let myself, I could spend a day thinking of everything I don't have or everything this show hasn't achieved or everything that hasn't come our way. But that is a waste of time, because it would take years to list all the things that we have got and all the things that are there. And actually, every day that the phone doesn't ring and someone say, are you sitting down, is a great day and is an amazing day to be alive. And that's all I'm sort of trying to think about right now.
You seem acutely aware of the fact that happiness and success don't always go hand in hand. And one of the things that happens with success is more responsibility. Biggie, of course, said it best, more money, more problems, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with him on that completely. I think Biggie is amazing, and God rest his soul.
We were just talking about, before we started recording, we were talking about home renovations.
Yes.
Look,
Biggie is, I would say it to anybody's face, I actually don't believe mo money, mo problems, because I actually think less money will bring you a lot more problems, and there'll be real problems and actual problems. Like me moaning about how much the renovations for my house has cost and how my wife chose a floor that was ridiculously expensive. That is the epitome of first world problems. What I do think is true is that money won't bring you happiness, but my God, it will pay for the search. Do you know what I mean? You may not be able to buy happiness, but you can pull up alongside happiness in a really nice yacht, and it would be great, and you'll feel a bit better, But I do believe success and money, like, look, if success and fame and money and all those things made you really, really happy, then we'd be looking at a lot more happier people when they're, award shows and things like that. It's not. That is never, ever going to be where happiness is going to come from, because it will be fleeting moments of it. You'll flirt with it. There'll be moments where it'll feel like, oh my God, this is amazing. But actually, it's sort of based on nothing, and it's grounded in nothing. And all the things that will make you happy are time and people and things like that. Like, that's all I think about. The only currency in the world is time. That's all there is. Yeah. That's all you've got is time. And my God, it's going to go quick, I feel like we brought our 6-year-old son home from the hospital last week, and he's 6, I felt like he walked yesterday, and now he's in first grade. And it's just, time just sort of plays tricks on you and starts to speed up at a rate that is unquantifiable, And I just, I think time is the key to spending time on the right stuff and thinking about the right stuff.
Well said. I had a little bit, and I'm still going through it, I think, a little bit of an existential crisis myself. When I hit age 30 was also the summer that...
Okay, we're going to talk about the tattoos. Is that what you're saying?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I'm going to get some of these lasered off.
They're beautiful. Go on.
The gibberish. I'm getting the gibberish lasered off.
Great.
No, but the summer my son was born was the same summer that I turned 30. And within 2 to 3 months of him being born, I started to sort of question everything that I valued in life. Mm-hmm. And I've never been a person that valued possessions or material things, but I really began to assess my life and what I was spending time on.
Yeah.
And over the past 3 years, I've really come to value time. And if my time is spent on just my family and just my craft, meaning my profession, the thing that I love to do, then I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Like that's all I really need.
Yeah, but it's just going, this is what I need and this is what I want. And like in every single job, your job, my job, you can start looking down the road at what someone else has got. Why have they got that and that didn't come here? Why am I doing this and that person's doing that? But actually you just go, if you just spend your life looking left and right at what other people have got, you're never ever looking at what you've got in front of you. And that's actually all that matters. And a friend of mine said a really interesting thing to me, which it really stuck in my mind, right? This is before I took this job and I was acting and I was just like bitching and moaning about the fact that some other actor had got some part I really wanted. And he said to me, no. He said, you cannot be jealous of just one strand of someone's life. You got to switch it all. You got to swap it all. You can't just look at one part. You can't look at, I'm jealous of that guy's car, or I'm jealous of that guy's shoes, or I'm jealous of that guy's job or money. You've got to swap everything. So look at your life as a whole. Look at their life as a whole. Would you swap? Like you, JJ Redick, you wouldn't swap with anyone. You wouldn't swap with anybody. Your friends, your family, your wife, everything you've got, you'd swap with no one. And actually, that's when you start going, great. And if you think you would swap, then you've got to start focusing on what it is you could do to make it that your life is unswappable.
It's interesting. I wouldn't swap with anyone.
Of course you wouldn't.
We actually have that discussion in the locker room sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, what athlete would you swap with? Would you swap with Tom Brady? Jeter?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan? Fuck no.
You might swap with Jordan. I think you've gone a bit far there. You swap with Jordan. With all due respect, JJ.
I think you're right, because once you get to the
you swap with Jordan.
Once you get to that level,
swap with Jordan.
You're right.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
By the way, I still don't. I'm just gonna. I know I'm on the Ringer Network, and I know like I'm not supposed to throw shade at Tom Brady because of Bill Simmons, but like the fact that guy has never eaten a strawberry in his life. I don't think that's possible.
I didn't know that.
He claims that he's never eaten a strawberry and he doesn't eat nightshades like tomatoes.
I think Tom Brady seems like a lovely man. I've never met him. He seems great. My worry with that is that if that is something that you're prepared to say out loud as an interesting thing, that's actually more depressing than not eating the strawberry. That you think that that's something that anyone could give a shit about, whether you've eaten a strawberry or not. Do you know what I mean?
He's selling like books and how-to manuals
about strawberries,
probably videos
about not eating
TB12, the TB12 plan of attack or whatever it's called. I'm not sure what it's called.
Do you know what?
But it involves not eating strawberries. Apparently,
I'm really trying to get into football. Right? I feel like I've given it. Now, to be clear, I'm using football because we're in America, and this is what you've chosen to call this game. The rest of the world, it is not football. There's another game which was created before your game and it was called football, but you've just sort of come along and just gone, we'll call this soccer. And it's ludicrous and it's outrageous. And, you know, the sooner someone in America goes, yeah, all right, we messed up. This is a game. Your football is a game predominantly playing catch interspersed between commercials when someone will kick a ball once. Our game is played predominantly, almost entirely with a foot and a ball. And I really feel like America's just got to own it and go, do you know what? We messed up. We're going to call this something else and we're going to fall in line with what the rest of the world calls football. It will never happen, but it would be a wonderful gesture to the rest of the world if you would do such a thing. But I've been trying to get into your football and like the NFL, and I really, really love it at points. At points, I think it's amazing. And then other points, I'm like, what am I watching here? What am I watching here? Is this, what even is this? This is just, all I'm watching is lots of guys walking around having a conversation. And then it will go to commercial and it will come back and I'll see someone with a headset talking, and then it will cut to someone else going, yeah, come on. And then they go, we'll be right back with more. And I'm like, at some point, play the game. And then they'll throw a ball and it will last about 18 seconds. And then that's it. It's like another commercial and another load of stuff. I can't really do with a game that's just constantly stopping and starting like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
Fair
my
enough.
thing. And baseball, I think, is a wonderful thing to go to. But I do feel like I'm just watching a group of people have a picnic that I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how it feels. It's people I don't know having a picnic, and I'm just watching it for a while. But I do think it's an amazing game when it gets great. Do you know what I mean? When it gets actually into the nitty-gritty, I think it's a brilliant game.
Have you adopted a team in your time in LA?
Well, this is our problem, and you have played a huge part in this. So we moved to America. Ben Winston, who is the executive producer of this show, is my best friend, a dear friend of yours. He gets right into basketball because he met you and goes to the Clippers, right? And now Ben, when it comes to football, soccer, he supports Arsenal. I support West Ham. 2 London teams. His team very good. My team very bad. And we have actually had fallouts sometimes about soccer games because I've wound him up when we've beaten Arsenal, and I was making him like, we probably didn't talk for a few days after I wound him up. So I was like, well, this is great. This is fantastic. We're going to come to LA and we can support a team together. Oh man, we could get season tickets. We can be buddies supporting the same team, which is what we've never done. So he's all in on the Clippers. He's like, Clippers. He's Clipper Nation. I'm like, all right, I'll join in with the Clippers. I wasn't 100% on it. I felt like, I don't know, but I was like, okay, you've left. He's all down on the Clippers. He's not interested anymore. I'm like, well, we need to make a choice. So I'm trying to get him to go Lakers now. He
is 100% all in on the 76ers. I can tell you with certainty.
There's no way I am supporting a team in Philadelphia. That is absurd. That is absolutely ridiculous for us to support a team that plays in Philadelphia. That's crazy.
I think it would be very cliche of you to come here and then sort of adopt the Lakers as your team.
But I was going to adopt the Clippers, but they're not allowed anymore. You know, and I really like them. I'm a big fan of DeAndre's. I dug the whole vibe. But now I'm looking at the Lakers. I'm like, you know, Lonzo looks pretty cool. He's all right. Like, you know, we'll always support you. I just feel like we've got to pick a team. And I'm thinking, let's go Lakers then.
All right, we'll be right back with James. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsor. Buying tickets can be complicated and confusing, but there's a simpler way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're catching your favorite musician on tour, shopping for the perfect gift, or searching for a last-minute deal to see your favorite NBA team, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, fully guaranteed. Nothing beats being there in person for the biggest plays of the year, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. I actually just used SeatGeek to buy tickets to a Jay-Z concert the other day. SeatGeek is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. SeatGeek saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports and concerts to comedy and theater. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code JJ today. That's promo code JJ for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. SeatGeek, right seat, right now, right from your phone. All right, we are back with James Corden, host of The Late Late Show. Your fame, your star has increased significantly over the past 2+ years since you guys came over and started The Late Late Show, which it's opened up a lot of opportunities outside of just your job here at CBS. How do you decide, what opportunities to take or not to take? I mean, you've hosted the Tonys, you've hosted the Grammys, you do speaking engagements. You went to Google Camp this past summer.
Yeah.
That's kind of a no-brainer. But how do you kind of sift through these opportunities and these requests and decide what is the best use of my time?
It's funny you should ask that. I've been giving that quite a lot of thought, really. It's a strange thing when when we came here, so much of like we just felt like we'd still be trying to educate people on what the show was right now or who I was. We just thought it would be a much, much longer road. We just never thought the show would take off in the manner that it did that quickly. And it takes you a while to sort of realize that. So I think I probably made quite a few decisions of just saying yes to lots of stuff. I'm also someone who I really enjoy. I think side projects are good. I think having stuff outside of your regular job every day where it can actually motivate you more for your sort of regular job, like just some other creative outlet. So you don't feel like all I'm doing is this here right now. So I think I just sort of say yes to stuff on things where I think, well, it would be fun. That's kind of what I base it on, really. I don't have any major kind of grand plan. I just think, well, yeah, that sounds fun. All right, I'll do it. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of it comes down to. I don't want to do anything that I feel like that wouldn't be sort of feeding me somehow. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really just enjoy being creative all the time. That's mostly what I enjoy doing is having creative conversations and thinking about the creation of more stuff. That's what I really enjoy doing.
You and Ben have a production company, Fullwell 73,
That's right.
Based in the UK.
We have an office in the UK. And we have an office here. Yeah.
And you're one of the partners along with 3 other guys, I believe.
There's 5 of us. Yeah.
There's 5 of you guys. So that obviously provides an outlet. In terms of sort of the side hustle things, though, like the speaking engagements, I'm really curious about Google Camp. Is there anything you can share?
The first rule of Google Camp is that you don't talk about Google Camp.
Can you just explain what it is?
I genuinely can't. Because they're very, very protective over it not being a public thing in any way. And I'd love to be invited back. So I'm not going to risk that. I'm not going to risk that by even beginning to talk about it. All I'll say is I found it hugely more enlightening than I thought it was going to be. And I found it sort of mentally stimulating and, dare I say it, challenging at points. That, some of the people that you're listening to talk there is a really, really wonderful thing I felt very, very lucky to be in some of the people's orbits that were there,
Yeah. Along those same lines, when you guys first started this show, it's obviously a comedy show and it's an entertainment show. But you guys have at times had to sort of cross over into being a political show. And a lot of late night shows now have a fairly strong political message.
Yeah.
And I watched the recent video you did after the shooting in Texas. I can remember watching, of course, when you did the monologue after the Orlando shooting. How difficult is it to do those monologues and even with the recent one in Texas? I mean, you said something that was like, "What can we say? Nothing." Like, what can we say? Nothing.
Well, that's the hardest thing about it. Actually, is that I think it was Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's the hardest thing about it. Is like, certainly when it comes to the shootings and stuff, you just have this overwhelming feeling of like, I've done too many of these. I've done this too many times for nothing to change. Do you know what I mean? Like
There was another one today, by the way, in Northern California, in an elementary school. Yeah.
And what's amazing is you just sort of start going, well, what do you do? Now, what you don't want to do, and what we're very conscious of, what you don't want to do is not talk about it and not become numb to it. Because I feel like the people who absolutely don't want change for whatever reason that I will never be able to fathom, the people that don't want change in how people or what type of people would be able to purchase guns, the people that don't want any sort of form of gun control, they would love it if you didn't talk about it. They'd love it if you if you ignored it, that you would become numb to such a thing. They love it so much so that if you do talk about it, you're told that it's too soon to talk about. You can't. It's disrespectful to say such a thing the day after what happened in Vegas or the day after what happened in that church in Texas. That it's disrespectful to say such a thing. It's too soon. The bodies are still. And you're like, well, no, it's not too soon. It's too late for those people. It's too late to have this conversation for the people for the families that are calling other loved ones to say, that news story. Well, that person that you love isn't here anymore because of that. It's too late to talk about it for then. And I find it very, very hard. I find it very, very odd coming from the UK, where there is absolutely a very strict policy on gun ownership, and it seems to have been a success because there hasn't been a mass of those things happening for such a long time. So what's hard in this job is like, how do you find anything new to say? But what you have to do, I think, is keep saying it. I don't think you can ever get to a point where you go, we already said this 3 weeks ago. Let's not do it again. You go, well, then so be it.
Right.
Well, then so be it. Well, then we'll say it again. And then in terms of like politics, there's no denying it's a very, very political time in this country and the world in many respects. You look at what's happening in Spain, Catalonia, you look at what's happening with Britain and Brexit. It's a very, very politically charged time. What we want to do is always talk about politics. We talk about politics every night. What we don't want to do is only talk about politics, because for a variety of reasons, one being I feel like there's lots of people already doing that, and they're doing it very, very, very well. And the other thing that I'm very aware of and have always been very aware of is I think you've got to earn the right to talk with authority on such things. And I think for me to be coming out and talking about policy or, reform in various states, and, it would be very, very, I don't live in America. I live in Los Angeles, and that's not reflective of what a lot of America is. Yeah. And it would be incredibly disrespectful for me just to think I could live here for 3 years and that I could have a voice on election reform or Congress and Senate seats and all of these things. In the same way that if an American host came to Britain and started talking about how it feels to be in Sunderland or Middlesbrough or Bradford or Hull, the people of Bradford or Hull would tell them to fuck off. They'd be like, no, you come over here, tell me what it's like to live my life. So what we try and do is find the political angle that best represents our show. And what are the things that we can do on our show that are a political statement, but it's a statement that only our show could make. In that, like when Donald Trump announced a ban on transgender people in the military, we were like, well, okay, everyone's going to be talking about this. What's our show's version of talking about this? So we wrote a song to Nat King Cole's Love to LGBT. When he announced the travel ban, the Muslim travel ban, we went to the airport and shot a film entirely shot on my iPhone of me moving through an airport with a card that says freedom of travel should be this easy for all legal immigrants, not just the white and Christian ones. Which, if you just hold that as a statement, that's as political as any show could ever get. Mm-hmm. What we want to do is take our swings when we feel very, very passionately about something and deliver them in a way that we feel is authentic to our show.
I've seen all of those clips. Ben sends me everything.
I'm sorry about
all the good stuff that you guys do. As an athlete, we are often now asked about our political views.
Sure.
in sort of the age of Trump now.
Well, and you're a staunch Republican. That's the amazing thing about you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why I think lots of people don't know is that you're what people won't know is during this podcast you're wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
We'll get a picture of it and post it on Twitter. Oh my God. Oh, I don't even. Yeah, But when we do say anything related to politics, whether it's making a tweet on gun control, I know on Media Day, this year I had some statements on Trump that
Yeah.
were fairly negative.
Mhm.
And the common response to an athlete is
Yeah.
stick to sports, and you've seen it on ESPN with Jameel Hill
Yeah.
getting suspended. It's just stick to sports. What is the backlash, or is there any backlash that you guys get, whether that's on social media?
Well,
Or
there'll always be backlash.
Yeah.
There's always going to be backlash. And what's happened now, which is very, very strange, is that we're living in a time now where people seem to think that being offended is a crime. And it isn't. It's just you're offended. And in truth, I wholeheartedly reserve the right to offend and be offended. And you can be offended, and that's fine. Be offended, absolutely, is your right, provided you understand that you being offended is particular to you. You being offended is as particular to you as you being hungry or having a pain in your leg. And what happens when someone goes, I'm offended by this, and you should all be offended too. And what's crazy is that's like going, well, I'm hungry, and you should all be hungry as well. I am feeling a particular feeling, and my God, I'll be damned if I don't make everybody else feel this feeling too. And that's also your right. That's anybody's right. And that's okay. But now we're sort of in a thing where being offended is a sort of a greater crime somehow. I'm offended by this. And it's, I can remember there was a play in Birmingham years ago that got closed down because there was a particular subject matter in the play that a particular religious community became offended by, and the playwright and the director of the play received death threats, and they closed the play. That feels a little harsh to me. It feels a bit much. I'm offended. I will threaten to kill you unless you take this unless you close this theatrical production. And what is really strange is someone going, I'm offended, and I'm going to share the very thing that offended me to make other people offended. It's like, well, don't do that. Then you're just upsetting more people. Just go, well, I'm offended by that. I shan't watch it anymore. Or I'm offended by what JJ Redick said, and I shall no longer root for them in the NBA season. Because what more do you want to happen? It's a very, very strange time.
Is it hard to be in comedy and write jokes with everyone being offended by everything?
I don't think so. I think the trick is to you've just got to be authentic to yourself. That's what I've realized. And any time when I haven't been authentic to myself, are the times where I've come unstuck. Pretty much every single time. Every single time that I have done something, whether it's previous work I've done or, made choices with things that I've done and avenues I've gone down, if I haven't been authentic to who I actually am and the spirit of myself, that's when I come unstuck. And that's what I've realized. And I get that wrong almost, daily, because, you can lose sight of where you think you should be. But the more authentic you are to yourself, then the more you can stand by what you say and how you act. I've made countless mistakes where you go, oh no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I was wrong and you were right. And that's it,
Before I let you go, I want to ask you just a couple questions about the Late Late Show. You're probably not best known, but one of your most viewed, I think, actually it is the most viewed and popular bits is Carpool Karaoke.
Yeah.
It's what you guys are known for. Have you ever been in a car with someone singing their songs and thought to yourself, wow, I have a better voice than them?
No, never. That's never...
Even with Britney Spears?
That's never happened. That has never, ever happened. Not at all. No. I mean, it's strange, the sort of my singing aspect, because in a way, like, I have to really kind of go for it to make the other person feel like, oh, I've got to go for it as well. Because the worst thing that could happen is someone just sort of, half sings along the way they sing along with the radio and they look a bit bored. It's like, no, we've got to do this like we're at Madison Square Garden. So I sort of tend to come from a place of trying to overcommit in the hope that they will sort of meet me halfway, And and that's easier now because lots of people have seen the segment, so they know what they're coming into. But no, I don't consider myself a singer in any way. Like, I just don't. I got offered a record deal a few weeks ago, and it was the quickest no I've ever said in the history of anything. Like, it just, because I just think there's a real leap. There's a massive leap between being able to sing along to someone and being an artist. And I think that being an artist is rarefied air, and I just look at singers and people that I love, and I just am grateful at any point that I've ever got to be in their orbit. I just think the last thing the world needs is me doing a record. It would just be so horrific, I think.
What is your favorite bit that you guys have done? That's not necessarily something that you're like super proud of because it made a statement, but you're the something that just cracked you up, something that you found to be hilarious. I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to let you think about it. I have two.
Go on.
The performance of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Where you dressed up as Belle, and you did it during stoplights, over on Beverly, right outside the CBS lot. You performed a few scenes. That was something where you went for it. Like, you went for it, and crushed it. And then the other one was actually one, and it's because I was involved in it, but the opportunity to throw cake or basketball.
That was so silly.
Off a building. The audible thump that would happen every time the cake would hit one of you guys.
What's my favorite bit? I mean, I really enjoy the moments where we've sort of tended to subvert the show in a way. Like, we have a bit on the show called Celebrity Noses, which is a bit that we've never ever got to because something keeps going wrong, and every single time something goes wrong, so we've never actually done the bit. It just keeps being hijacked by something else happening, and I really, really enjoy doing those. I really enjoy any point where you feel like you don't know if what you're watching is actually going wrong or it's for real. Like, I just love any moment where it feels spontaneous and alive, really. Those are my favorite moments, I think. But if you ask me, like, what the thing I'm most proud of, I don't think there's any one bit. I think what I'm really proud of is that the show is what we always wanted it to be when we were trying to sort of come up with it. We wanted to make what was in many senses a traditional late night show, but then in another breath felt completely original. We wanted to make a show, and that's why we like have all our guests out at the same time. I think the way we shoot music is often quite beautiful and interesting. I think the sort of level of sketches and things that we do, the show is part variety, part talk show, part sketch show, part musical. It's all of those things, and I'm really proud of the fact that no one episode is like another. Really, they're all pretty unique, and that's all we ever wanted it to be and feel like.
Well, I think you guys have succeeded in that. James, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, what a pleasure, man.
Thank you for coming on the show, and please just give the 76ers a chance. It's
too far away, dude. I'm not supporting the 76ers.
You can be a satellite fan.
It's just not going to happen.
The games come on at 4:00. I mean, they're easy to watch.
No, they're not. So we tape a show at 5, fuck. So it's pointless. You've actually given it more of a reason not to. Listen, I love you. I adore you. I think you are an anomaly in athletes. You are an incredible man and an incredible guy, and I will always root for you. But I'm really, really sorry. I'm not going to support the Philadelphia 76ers. I also don't like the strip. I don't like the kit. I don't
like what?
The kit that you wear.
Oh, the kit. Okay.
I don't like those stars down the side. I think they feel a bit tacky. I think that's something you've really got to address as a team. Because I was watching it last week. I was like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like a school team, little red and white stars down the side. I just don't think it's becoming of a NBA team.
I'll talk to the right people for that. We'll
Get
get
into
that.
it.
We'll get that sorted.
Do you think it's amazing as well? Can I tell you something I really think is incredible in American sport? Given how America is sort of at the core, the epicenter of like commerce and money and advertising and all you think about, Pepsi halftime show and all these things. So at home, with our football teams, Premier League teams, Championship teams, League One teams, League Two teams, all carry sponsorship on their shirts of companies. Now it's in a place where the shirt would be sponsored on the side. You would get a different sponsor on the sleeve. Some teams have a different sponsor on the shorts. But in no American sports, in zero American sports, do any teams carry any form of advertising. Why is that?
Well, the NBA just started having a small patch. It's got to fit within like a 2-inch, circumference, right on the left breast. And so I don't even know who our sponsor is. I should probably know that. I know the Celtics are GE, so they have a GE right
well, then
here.
that's it. You're finished. It's only going to be a matter of time before the whole of the Philadelphia 76ers are just dressed as the Michelin tire man. Just like, because if you've given an inch, that's it. They're going to take a mile. But I've always found it interesting that like NFL teams don't have,
I think the leagues are now looking, obviously, because they're a business, but they're looking at trying to get new revenue streams, and that potentially could be fairly lucrative. But the other thing too is like the jersey makers. So we were with Adidas for a long time. The NBA was, and this is the first year wearing Nike jerseys.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, and so Nike paid something like $1 billion to make these jerseys, and they've got their swoosh logo on the right side.
Yeah.
So I would assume that Nike would probably put up some sort of fight that they wouldn't want a huge, Chevrolet across the chest. You want to see the Nike swoosh.
Yeah, but if you look at home, so take Real Madrid, their kits are made by Adidas. Barcelona, their kits are made by Nike. So it's not a uniform league. Like the team I support, I think ours is Umbro. Then you'll get like Liverpool is...
Umbro?
Umbro.
Umbro still exists.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's the level of where my team are at. It's Umbro, and then like Liverpool, their kits are made by New Balance, and there's no uniform thing that the Premier League kits are made by Nike. So what it means is every club negotiates their own deal with a kit sponsor and a kit maker. So you could argue that it's not as fair as your league, because I imagine Nike give the money to the NBA and the NBA carve that money up and give it to the teams, or do they?
Yeah,
just keep it?
But yeah, they would carve it up and give it to teams, and we would also get a cut of that too. But I think the issue that and the reason we do it the way we do is because let's say you're Memphis, the Grizzlies. You're the Grizzlies owner, you're the CEO of the Grizzlies or whatever, and you're going to negotiate with Nike or Adidas or Reebok. Can you make our jerseys and put your logo on? Well, you're not going to get paid that much relative to, let's say, the Lakers or the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And so in the interest of sort of balancing the playing field, we're trying to sort of have the small market teams be able to compete with the larger clubs or the larger markets.
Thing. And I do find American sports in all are much, much fairer than our sports at home, because we don't have a draft system. So, if West Ham are so bad, there's like a chance that if we were a basketball team, we'd have got LeBron or Steph Curry, or do you know what I mean? Like, because we are so bad that we would have ended up having a Wayne Rooney or a Gareth Bale or someone like that, and that would be amazing. But now what happens is the rich clubs get richer and the poor clubs get poorer, and all you're hoping is that an owner will come in and buy you and put loads of money into the team. It's a much fairer system in American sports, I think.
I agree. Has West Ham ever been relegated?
Oh my God, are you joking? Been relegated. I think we've been relegated twice in the last 12 years. We're like right now we're like 18th in the league. I mean,
maybe I don't want you to root for the Sixers.
We're terrible.
Maybe you don't know how to pick a winner. I don't know. I don't think I want. You know what? Root for the Lakers. Pick the Lakers as your team.
Yeah, no, I will. I don't think it's my fault. To be clear, I don't think West Ham are struggling because it's me. We've just always been struggling. It's just that's just the team that we are. We're kind of I'm trying to think of who we're like really in basketball. I don't know who's a team that sort of you think should be really, really good and they're just not. Clippers. Cheers, man.
We're going to end on that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Cheers.